All right, guys, we're doing a first startup on a 12 valve for Evan. This engine had an issue. It glazed the cylinders. We're not 100% sure why it glazed the cylinders, but the cylinders were like shiny, like super shiny clean. Very low mileage on it, so I'm not sure what the problem was. So we pulled it all apart, deglazed, put it back together. So I'm doing first startup on it, just gonna do a quick run in on it. I'll do a hot retorque on it. So this would be classified as a dry break-in. So I don't recommend for most people to do a dry break-in because you kind of need to know a few things. Not that it's super hard, but I just recommend for most people not do a dry break-in, but this is how I usually do them. So basically I got everything hooked up. I got an oil pressure gauge. I'm sure it's gonna have oil pressure, so I'm not too worried about that. But we got the oil pressure gauge. I got it plumbed up with fuel lines, starter. Now, when it's rolling over, it rolls over relatively slow, as I have been rolling over a little bit, and that starter is starting to let the smoke out, so I might have to change the starter to get it to start. It was just a starter I had laying, it was literally laying on the floor, and I just threw it on there because he didn't bring the starter or flywheel with it, so that was just one that I had laying. So I might have to change that before it's going to start. I did prime the fuel system, but I'm going to do a separate video talking about priming the fuel system. Being I have this engine sitting here and show you guys how to prime it. Relatively easy, but if you have issues, I can show you a couple little tricks. So we still have to actually prime the injectors or bleed the injectors. I have not done that yet. So we're going to go ahead. I'm going to throw you up on the stand. We're going to go ahead and do that. And then fire this thing up and do the break-in on it. Well, as long as I don't change the starter. We'll see. All right, guys, I'm gonna have to change the starter. Starter is not up to snuff. All right, guys. Okay, I had to put another 2 more starters in it. Finally found one that actually rolls over good. So I'm gonna mark those ones NFG. For you guys that don't know what NFG is, use your imagination. All right, so let's see what this thing's gonna do. I got the solenoid pulled up. I did actually move the wire because the wire didn't want to stay where I wanted. I'd usually use a zip tie, but the zip ties that I have are junk. They don't want to hold it. So let's roll this thing over a bit. Basically, at this point, the only thing I've done is I've just primed everything so that you have fuel coming out of your return. And my pants don't want to stay up. This is the reason I don't wear pants. They don't stay up. Basically, I've just primed everything. Everything's primed through the injection pump. I never got anything out the injectors yet. So we're just gonna pump a few more times on the primer, and then we'll crack a few injection lines open, see what we got, and then we're gonna go from there. So let's give her a pump. You can actually hear the overflow valve squealing, and that's a good indication that you've got fuel there. So, all right, let's roll it over a bit here. I primed on that thing quite a bit, but the system was completely empty, so. Oh, sounds like she might go. We're rolling it over. We got just rolling, and it's got about over 10 pounds of oil pressure, so we got oil pressure there. And we should, well, we got our fuel down. We should be okay, I think. What I'm gonna do, first startup, I'm always a little bit leery on what's gonna happen. So what we're gonna do here is get a piece of board to put over the intake. Which, to be totally honest, probably isn't gonna completely help us, but there's 2 little holes in the intake still, so. All right, we're gonna use a clipboard. Hopefully, we probably don't need it, but. Clipboard, cover the intake over if we have to. I don't think we should have to, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. So we're gonna take this wire, and this is the wire for the solenoid. I'm just gonna hold it with my hand here to start with, just in case, and we're gonna roll over. Sounds like we're gonna have to give it a little bit of throttle here. Hold on, guys. I'm gonna go get a zip tie or something different for this. This wire's pissing me off. Actually, you know what I should do is I should just wire it. That's what I should do. Gentlemen, you can see I got that. Shoot that here quick, just so oil temperature doesn't go down too much. If you're wondering why I put the tape on there, the tape is actually so you don't have a reflective surface. Sometimes these guns don't like to work off of a non-reflective surface. Don't worry about the oil leak, it's just leaking out of this fitting up here. I didn't put any lube or any sealer on it, but when it was running, we were like 170, 176 degrees on the last. I don't know if you'd be able to see it when it was on the stand there or not. Everything seems to be kosher. No oil leaks, well, other than that right there. I think what I'm gonna do, not really need to show it, do a hot retorque on it. We're just gonna pull the valve covers off, the injection lines off, pull that 135, make sure everything is torqued and good. And I'll probably do one more run in on it, bring it up to 175 degrees one more time. And yeah, everything is good as far as that goes. So that'll be it for this one. Probably chop some of this down into shorter bits for you guys that don't want to watch the full video, and then I'll probably put the whole full video up for you guys that do want to watch. So like, subscribe, hit me down in the comments, and remember, it's not rocket science.